Hi everyone, my name is Jen and this is Bee's House of Plants, where we talk about these houseplant and home design. Welcome back! So I am so excited to finally show you guys my plant room today and do a houseplant tour. The last houseplant tour I did was all the way back in January, and obviously my plant situation has changed a whole lot since then. I did a whole series on my channel where I made over this room, which is my office slash my plant room. So if you're interested in watching that, I'll make sure to link it up here for you as well as in the description box. So today we are going to go through every single plant I own. The last time I counted, which was probably like a month or two ago, I was sitting at around 85 plants, not counting propagations, but I think that number might have increased a little bit since then. Okay, I'm so excited to get into it, so let's just do it. Okay, so this is the view you get when you first walk into the plant room. Right over here I have a series of posters, and I painted this door recently on my vlog channel, so if you're interested in watching that. But the very first plant is this one right here in the corner. This is a very, very long trailing golden pothos. This used to be in my bedroom. It's the one that used to be trailing up my wall, but I decided to take it down and move it here instead. I think it looks so good here. Since this corner is quite dark, if you can see, I do have some grow lights back here for it. I don't know if this positioning is necessarily like the best, but it does hide them and they're out of the way, and it does give this plant just a little bit more light. It hasn't been here this long, so if it's doing like poorly after a couple months, I'll move it, but so far it doesn't seem like it's doing too badly. This leather plant hanger is from Amazon. I'll make sure to link it in the description box for you. So yeah, this is the very first plant, the golden pothos. Okay, so this is the door. So if you look here, this is probably, I guess, like the quote-unquote main feature of the room. So this is a series of shelving from IKEA that I transformed into like my plant wall, my plant shelf. All of the shelves have grow lights underneath them, so this is new. I just installed the grow lights. I do like them. I'm not like 100% about them just because the cord situation looks a little bit messy to me, and I haven't really figured out a better way of doing it yet. But without the grow lights, the plants were definitely not getting enough light, so I feel like the grow lights are kind of a must. Okay, I turned all the grow lights off so that it's a little bit easier for you to see the plants. I do think it looks better without the grow light, but it's really dark in here without them. I do have the exposure up pretty high, and I do have filming lights on, but if you saw it like without any lights on, it's so incredibly dark in here. But okay, let's go over the actual plants. I don't have any plants on the top shelf anymore because they weren't doing well, so I moved them. So this is the first one. This is a Syngonium Randy. I love the variegation pattern on this. This is about as easy as any Syngonium is to take care for, but like look how cool this variegation is. I did end up transferring this plant into Leca, and it's been doing super well. I do have to rotate this one pretty often since its only light source is coming from this side, and it tends to grow a little bit wonky if I don't rotate it, but it's doing super well in Leca. Right next to it, this is a sad looking philodendron Jose Bueno. It's currently in moss. It's been like, I've been trying to root this for very long and it has not rooted at all. So I'm thinking about just shoving it in some soil to see if it'll root that way. I don't know. And then next to it, this is a philodendron Brandy. So my grow lights are pretty new, and I feel like in the period where I didn't have the grow lights installed, it's been like not doing very well. It put out very small leaves, like if you see that one. But now that I have the grow lights installed, I'm hoping that the next set of leaves it puts out is going to be much bigger. And I did put a mini moss pole in there so that it will have something to climb up. So I'm hopeful about that. Okay, right in front here, this is just a regular green heart-shaped philodendron, or philodendron hericium. This is a cutting from my bigger plant, and it's currently in LECA, and I think it's doing really well. I really like having something that's trailing right here in the front, so it kind of breaks the look of the shelving. Next to it, this is another syngonium or arrowhead plant. This one is a regular just green variety. I believe this cultivar is called white butterfly or something like that, but it's just green. So yeah, and then I feel like all the cultivars of syngoniums look very similar. This pot is from IKEA. Okay, right here in the front, this is a philodendron silver stripe. If you watch my videos from way back, this used to be a trailing plant, and I ended up chopping it at some point because it wasn't doing very well. And then I rooted it in water, and then eventually transferred it to LECA, and this is all of the new growth. So it's looking super cute so far. This might actually be like a cream splash. I guess we'll see what it looks like once these leaves kind of mature a little bit. Sometimes the difference between silver stripe and cream splash is a little bit hard to tell, especially with these mature leaves. Like that looks like a silver stripe to me, but this new growth looks like cream splash. So yeah, okay, so put that back. And then this is a watermelon peperomia. I don't know, I don't like peperomias. It's fine. And this is a peperomia obtusifolia marble. This is one of my favorites because unlike the watermelon peperomia and the other kinds of peperomias I have, this one feels much easier to care for. I hardly ever water this. I only water it if the leaves feel like super flexible, which right now it doesn't need to be watered. So peperomia obtusifolia marble. Next to it, this is my philodendron gloriosum. It recently just got repotted into a, longer horizontal pot, so hopefully it has a better opportunity to grow and crawl like its natural nature. I feel like this one hasn't been like hard to care for, and it's always putting out new growth. Like if you see, there's new growth back here, but the leaves aren't getting any bigger, so I want bigger leaves. Okay, this is my variegated string of hearts. Look how long this is. Let me step back. It's like touching the bottom of the next shelf, and when I got it back in November, it wasn't trailing at all, so I'm super happy with that. I do have a whole care video on variegated string of hearts if you are interested. Okay, back here, this is a Mandula pothos. This was a gift from my plant, or from my friend Mintage Plants. I love this Mandula pothos. Look at some of these leaves over here, like it's so pretty. And it's growing this way because I do have a grow light over here, so it's trying to grow towards that grow light, and also the window is over here, so that's why it's kind of like growing this way. Love that one. This is my reverted philodendron pink princess, or the philodendron burgundy princess. So this is a cutting that I chopped, and I rooted it in moss and then transferred it to LECA. I think it's doing really well. I put up this leaf recently. I don't think it's necessarily putting out more variegation than before, but you never know with these. It's kind of just luck. So happy to leave this here and see what it does. Eventually I'll put it on a pole. So that's everything on this shelf. Okay, let's go into this shelf. So this grow light, this is a Sansi grow bulb. I'll make sure to link it in the description. The pendant is from IKEA, and the like actual cord I believe is from Amazon I think. This mirror is from Target, and then this is my other Mandula pothos, also a gift from my friend Mintage Plants. Look how well this one is doing now. This one used to do very, very poorly because I had it in terracotta for a while and it was like always dehydrated, but I recently transferred it to this Wally Grow loop planter and it's been so much happier ever since then. Okay, next shelf. This is my Hoya Crimson Princess. I love the variegation on this. When the new growth comes out, it always comes out pink before kind of like slowly fading to white. I feel like the variegation on this is just stunning. Super easy to care for, hardly ever needs watering. Highly recommend. Also quite an accessible plant, so highly recommend. This is a Rhaphidophora decursiva. It recently put out its first like fenestrated leaf with, you know, fenestrations. Recently repotted in this. I do have a video on that. This is my Hoya compacta variegata. It doesn't grow very much. It takes a really long time to grow, but I figured that if I just like ignore it, eventually I'll have a full pot of this. It's grown like maybe 2 leaves in the past 8 months, but so that's there. This is my Philodendron Rio from Gabriella Plants. Love the variegation on this. I do already have a video out on the difference between the variegation of the Rio versus Silver Stripe versus Cream Splash and all of that. And I do have this one training up a pole. I'm hoping that the leaves will get bigger if I train it up a pole. And this pot is from Target. This is an air plant. This is a Xerographica. This is new to me. So far, I'm just making sure that it gets a lot of light and I soak it about once a week. I've only had this for a couple weeks, so I haven't like noticed any new growth. And I don't think they grow like that much every year, but I do really like it. I love the shape and like how curly it is. So that's my air plant. This is one of my favorite plants. This is the Syngonium podophyllum albo variegata, or the variegated arrowhead plant. Look at this. Ho 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 ho. This is freaking amazing. I love this plant. This one is from Steve's Leaves. I do have an unboxing video of it. It's grown so much. I ended up transferring into Leca because I felt like it was a little bit unhappy before. I think it because the variegation is white, sometimes this happens where if you water inconsistently or if you accidentally overwater it, the white part will automatically turn brown. And I feel like I was having a little bit of a watering issue with it when I was in soil. I think these like to dry out a little bit more than you would think. So it's been so much happier ever since I transferred it into Leca. Okay, this is a box with photos in it, and then this is my Scindapsus Chebuli Moonlight. I think it needs a little bit of water right now, but this might be the slowest growing plant in my collection. I got this at the end of January, and it has grown a total of 1 leaf, this leaf, in the past 8 months. So that's pretty slow if you ask me, but the variegation pattern is awesome. Okay, we move the string of hearts out of the way. We see the next plant. This is my Aglaonema chocolate. I talked about this plant recently in my favorite leaves video. Look at the variegation pattern on that. I think that's so freaking spectacular. Such an easy to care for plant. No one ever talks about it. It's so underrated. This one is in Leca, and I think it's been pretty happy in Leca. this is a barrel's tail. You can see it's getting a little bit elongated, so I think it wants a little bit more light than this grow light is giving it. I might move it outside. It's been really hot outside recently though, and the sun has been really strong because California, so I don't know. I might move this outside though. We'll see. Okay, this is another variegated syngonium. So this plant, if you watch me way back when, was originally from Logis, and it was a single stem plant, and it had about maybe 6 or 7 leaves when I first got it, and it wouldn't grow. Took the freaking longest time ever. I had it for months and months and months, and I think about 6 months in, I gave up because it wouldn't grow. So I ended up chopping it and then propagating those, and it's been doing so much better ever since I did that. These all rooted up very quickly, and now it's, putting out new growth. As you can see, the size difference between this one and this one is pretty insane. I feel like when I first got from Logis, it wasn't this small, but it was considerably smaller than this plant. So keep that in mind. If you're debating where to buy it from, I would either buy it from Steve's Leaves or Gabriella Plants for sure. But now this is my mini variegated syngonia, and I love it so much. This was the first quote-unquote rare plant that I ever got, so I don't think I can ever get rid of it or sell it. I love it so much. This is the other section of the same philodendron philodendron silver stripe / cream / IDK. This is the same plant as the one from up here. I just split it into 2 different pots. So yeah, okay, so those are all the plants on this row. Okay, let's go to the final row of my plant shelf. This is a Raven ZZ. The leaves are starting to turn black, which is super cool. I honestly just kind of have a grudge against this plant because I didn't like the place where I bought it from. I do have a whole video on that. It's called my biggest haul yet or something. I'll make sure to link it. So I think the plant is cool. I just overpaid so much for it that I kind of have a grudge against it, and it's not a quick grower at all. So yeah, this is another syngonium. This is one of my first plants. This is a syngonium strawberry cream, I believe. And it comes out, when it comes out, the leaves are bright pink. And then slowly it fades down to a leaf like this. This one got repotted recently, so it's been doing okay. I feel like it could get a little bit more light. It's kind of far from the grow light source, so I guess we'll see. If it's not doing too well in a couple months, then I'll move it to somewhere else. Right next to it, so this is a Monstera adansonii. This was a gift from my friend Broderick, aka California Plant Dad, I believe is his new plant username. This was trailing, and then it kind of had a teeny tiny bit of root rot, so I wanted to make sure that I still was able to save the majority of the plant even if it had root rot, so I ended up chopping it. So these are the biggest leaves, and it's currently in leca, and then I do have the other section of this plant currently in some water to propagate. This is propagation. This is the last remaining strand of my spring of dolphins after I burnt it to a crisp from leaving it in direct sunlight, and this is a strand of variegated string of hearts. Okay, this is my philodendron silver sword, or philodendron hustatum. I've kind of had a contentious history with this plant. It keeps giving me stuck leaves or deformed leaves, so I feel like I could use a little bit more humidity, but yeah. I might put this on a pole because it's kind of floppy right now, so I think it definitely could use a pole. And then behind you, this is a watermelon peperomia that I propagated from a leaf. Okay, this is a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. This was the cutting from my mystery box video, if you remember that. So now it's doing quite well from when the last time you saw it. It's currently in leca. I think it's doing well. So yeah, it's putting out new growth all the time. Okay, this is my lightning bolt jewel orchid, or my Macetes petola. It's in this cloche that I got at a local nursery. I get questions about that quite a bit, but I got it at a local nursery. I feel like the leaf is never like my camera can't do this leaf pattern justice. It's so amazing in person. Okay, put this back on. It is in moss. I'm probably just gonna leave it in moss like permanently. I think it'll be fine. Okay, next up, this is my philodendron micans. I have a video where I transferred it to leca and staked it up. It's pretty much now reaching like the top of the pole. Haven't decided whether or not I'm going to give it a taller pole or if I'm going to train it back down to make it a little bit fuller, because it is like kind of sparse right now. But this is my philodendron micans. It is velvety. I love it. It's been doing so much better ever since I transferred it to leca, and also it pretty much just gripped onto the pole without any of my assistance really, so it really loves its moss pole. I think it's been really enjoying the new grow light that I installed, because it wasn't doing like amazing earlier, but it's doing so much better now. Okay, so this is my Snow Queen pothos. It was in a little bit of a darker corner. It used to be on the top shelf, and so it was putting out leaves that were much greener than it was previously. So I moved it down here, installed these new grow lights, and this is the newest leaf. So it's definitely so much whiter. Really love it. It perked right up once I put it onto this shelf. This is a Monstera stanlea albo variegata, or variegated Monstera stanlea. Look at that. I really like this one. I might put this on a moss pole soon. I don't know. But look at that. Look at that patch of white right there. Really like this one. Okay, and this is a Pearls and Jade pothos. I do have a video where I compare all the different kinds of pothos and their variegation. If you're curious about that, I'll make sure to put that in the description box for you. So this is the next section. This is what I call my high maintenance bench. I do have another Sansi grow bulb over here. This is where the humidifier is, so I do put some of my more humidity loving plants over here. So I guess let's start over here. This is the philodendron Jose Bueno, the other section of the plant that I propagated over there, except for this one rooted up. This was the top cutting, so that might explain why it rooted up so much easier. And it is trying to put out a new growth point right here. It did put out this leaf that was stuck, so I had to unstick it, and then I did up the humidity in this room a little bit. This is definitely one of my favorite plants. This is the philodendron Melanochrysum cross varicosum, which I think is now called the philodendron splendid. I believe it's a new name. So freaking amazing, so velvety. Just look at that. I stroke this all the time. This is in leca. This was sold to me in leca, so I didn't transfer it. The person who had it before me transferred it, and since it was already in leca, I just keep it in leca. And it's putting out a new leaf right now. Oh, look how pretty. Love it. Okay, right next to it, kind of hiding, this is the other section of the reverted pink princess. The top section is what you saw on my plant shelf. This is the other section. Okay, right next to that, this is my Monstera Thai constellation. Look at this leaf from NSC Tropicals, and it's putting out a new leaf. It finally is putting out a new leaf. I dropped this plant earlier this year when I was putting up the plant shelf, and it got really damaged by the stem, so I was like really concerned about whether or not it would put out a new leaf, but it finally did. So look at that. Okay, right in front of that, this is my philodendron pink princess. This is like the most variegated leaf. This one has been having a hard time lately. It's been putting out much smaller leaves, and it had like a few leaves that were scrunchy and like stuck. Thinking about maybe chopping it. I don't know yet. But I did move it to this spot recently. This used to be on my plant shelf, so I'm hoping that this spot has more humidity and more light, so maybe it'll do a little bit better. So I guess I'm gonna monitor that situation for maybe another month before deciding whether or not I'm gonna chop it or not. Okay. This is my Calathea orbifolia. This is from Plantarina. I do have a video where I split this plant and ended up selling the other section of this plant because I don't really need two. This is doing so well. It just put out this brand new leaf right here. And it's a pretty big new leaf. So I'm really happy about that. I do try to give this one filtered water, but sometimes I'm lazy, and I will admit that sometimes I do give it tap water. I think this browning is from underwatering though, and not from the tap water. But since the edges are already brown, I feel like a little bit more lax about whether or not to give this one filtered water. Okay. So in this cloche right here, this is my Philodendron Birkin, and it's so fussy, like so much fussier than you think it would be. This plant will not put out new growth unless the humidity is like ridiculously high, like 80 or 90. I've put it like uncloached over here, and the humidity over here is usually like in the 60s, if not 70s. Would not put out a new growth point. And then I put a cloche on it about a week ago, and look at that. Do you see how there's now like a new growth point in there? I'm not gonna unopen it because it's balanced very precariously on like a different planter, so we're just gonna leave it and we're just gonna ignore it. Okay, over here, this is my Trader Joe's plant. Someone ID'd this plant for me earlier, and I've already forgotten what it is called. I think it's Stanthe exotica, something like that. I'll make sure to put it on the screen for you. And then right here, this is my Stramanthe Trio Star. Love this one. Puts out new growth all the time. Look how pink that one is. Really love this one. This one is really not that fussy at all. I do give this one tap water most of the time, and it doesn't seem to hate me too much. The ends are a little bit crispy and a little bit brown, but I don't think it's like that bad. I do try to give it filtered water, but half the time that just doesn't happen. Okay, let's go over here. So this is another piece of the watermelon peperomia that I'm propagating. Ooh, it's really gross in there. Let's ignore that. I need to change out the water on that. This is a sad looking prayer plant. I put it in a window that was too bright for it, and it was just unhappy. Recently just transferred it into Leca so that it hopefully becomes a little bit happier. This is my jewel orchid, my Ludicea discolor. So this is the bottom section. I made a chop right there. If you can see, I do have a video on that. This is the bottom section, and this is how it's doing. I think it's doing really well. It just put out that new leaf right there. Okay, this is a Philodendron Mimi that I put into Leca. It's just a tiny baby one. Look how cute. And I think this one is working on a new leaf currently. So I'm excited to see that. I did buy this as a one leaf cutting, so I'm so excited that it rooted up. I did root it in moss before transferring to Leca. Okay, this is the Philodendron pedatum. This used to be a cutting in my mystery box video, and it's doing like really well now. Like, look at that. I think I rooted this one in water before I put it in Leca, and I do have the conversion process of that on my Instagram if anyone is interested. I do want like it to put out some like more mature, like this is what the not the mature form, but the a little bit more mature form of the leaf looks like, and it's been putting out, you know, like this shaped leaf. So waiting for that to put out more mature leaves. This is the Peperomia obtusifolia Golden Gate, I believe. This got sunburned. It used to be a one stem plant and it got sunburned, so I chopped it and I put it pretty much straight into leca after I chopped it, and those are all of the new growth. Really like that. I'm waiting for it to put out more new growth, and then I can cut off like all the ugly sunburned leaves. This is a cutting of my golden pothos just in water. It looks a little bit sad. I wonder why. Maybe it's just ready to go into soil because the roots are pretty long. Okay, this is the other section of the same prayer plant. Look how much better this one is doing. So yeah, love that. This one's also in leca. Okay, this is the philodendron Jose Bueno. All of the Jose Buenos in this room are from the same original plant. This is a cutting that I started to root in moss and it wasn't doing too well, and I stuck this one in soil. I don't know if it has rooted at all because it's in soil, but the leaves doesn't look like it's degrading, so I'm just gonna hopefully say that it's okay. Okay, this is the philodendron varicosum. That's a new leaf. Look at that. That's an older leaf. I don't know, I just like don't, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really love the varicosum. I love this hybrid way more, but it's there. Okay, this is a Syngonium holly from the same unboxing video, and it's in leca. This one is tiny, and I thought it was a much bigger plant when I bought it, and it kind of had like a little bit of root rot earlier this year, so I transferred it to leca, and it's been doing a lot better, but I do want some bigger sized leaves out of it. Okay, up here I have two hanging plants. This is just a marble queen pothos, and then over here this one is a philodendron silver stripe. There you go. Okay, so those are all of the plants in this room. Let's go to a different room. All right, let's keep things moving right along. So this is actually right outside of my plant room. I have a video where I DIY'd this planter box. There is a grow light in it. This is the other section of my Ludicea discolored, my jewel orchid. It's actually been doing like really well in this box. I've been a little bit surprised, but I think these actually like a little bit less light, so it's been doing really well in this box. This is a bunch of pothos, like different varieties of pothos, just kind of like mixed in here. And this is a regular green Peperomia obtusifolia. These kind of live in here permanently, and then like the other two things I swap out pretty often. I'm gonna be honest that these two probably could use a little bit more light. I don't think that this grow light is very strong, but I do like the way they look in here, so I just leave them in here. And then this is the other section of my Monstera adansonii. This is the portion that is still in water, so it's just running up over here. I love using this box for water propagating because I feel like it has like just enough light where the plants do well water propagating. So yeah. Okay, so now we are in my bedroom, and this is probably the area with the second most amount of plants.